Welcome to another edition of Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today's episode 17 is Extreme Lifestyle Designed for Success. I think a lot of us want to get out of the positions that we're in. A lot of us want to get big. Some of us want to be millionaires. Some of us want to be billionaires. There's things that we're after that we want to do. And we need to look at those who came before us. And what am I talking about? Well, today's inspiration came from a talk by a one called Danny Pena, and I think he's hilarious. This guy really yells at people for a living, I think, but he makes a lot of sense. Danny Pena, if you don't know who he is, he's the $1 billion man. Brought himself from what did they say, $350 to over $1 billion. He grew up in the slums, and he made his way. He was talking about high performance people and what they needed to do, such as Elon Musk and what's the Apple guy? Why can't I always remember his name? Anyways, you know who the guy is. Not Bill Gates, but basically all of these guys would literally sleep in their offices. They'd eat in their office. They would bathe in the sink and in the bathroom at the office. They lived there 7 days a week. They really just pumped hard. Like he said, what do all these, Steve Jobs, there it is. Thank you, mind. He said these guys were tougher than nails. That's what it's going to take if you want to get to that sort of level there. I'm not really interested in getting that sort of level. I'm more interested in creating, a homestead, creating sustainability, resiliency for my family. I want to live in nature. I want out of the rat race, and I want out for good. And I also want to leave nothing more. No legacy of money, but a legacy of trees and swales and natural features that are put on a piece of land that I was able to repair, that my children's children could enjoy. And if they don't enjoy it, at least it's something that I left the earth better than the way I found it. So what's it going to take, though? Especially, when you're younger, I think even this applies to people who are in their 20s starting out and your 30s starting out. I think it even applies to people who are my age in your 40s and you're starting out, or even in your 50s and 60s. How are we going to get there? We need to go to extreme measures. If you truly, truly want to get ahead, you're going to have to do things very, very extreme, especially when you get closer to my age and up. Excuse the background noise. This is my F-350 pickup truck. That's I do these podcasts when I'm on my work commute. But let's get right into it. So how great people utilize this and why? Why did they go so extreme? Because they knew that they had time against them. They knew that they had to get so much done. And the thing I'd like to say as well is that a lot of extreme people such as myself, we love what we're doing. We're more into the performance of things. I had the saying there where people are more about the aesthetics, how things function, how they look, not necessarily how they perform. We're after the way things work. We're after results. We don't really care that we haven't showered in 3 days. We don't care that we live in an RV trailer paying a third of the rent that most people do around us. We don't care that we're driving an old jalopy pickup truck that's actually paid for. We don't care about shaving all the time and everything. We care about getting there. So we have to get extreme because time is against us. And the real way that Steve Jobs was working, I think, out of a garage at his mom's house and stuff like that, sleeping in the garage. Elon Musk says that he lived at his office. Same thing with this Danny Pena guy. They lived in the office pretty much for a long time, if not years, to get everything going. So there's a lot to it. Is it for everybody? No. But if you're really complaining and you're really unhappy and dissatisfied with what you have in your life, you're going to have to be caffeinated and motivated to get out of here. And that's why I think a lot of these people who are smart people saw what they needed to do and they zeroed in and they did it. Next year is what I want to talk about, though, in all of this is how you can lose balance. And what I want to talk about next is how to balance your physical health. And I only have 15 minutes to spit out this show, so I don't have a long time, so I'm going to try to compact it all in. One thing that I look at is, first of all, let me give you guys some context. I run this podcast, the Resilient Living Podcast. I run Up and In It podcast. These are not only broadcasted on the podcast platforms, they also broadcasted on YouTube. I'm also growing my own food. I'm spin farming off somebody else's property that I don't own. I'm turning that spin farm operations and this invention that I've made called the biodegradable container gardening systems so that I can do an online course. Before I can do the online course, I need to prove to the world that my stuff works. My stuff's working. To me, I've seen it. Nobody else has. What great is a great idea if nobody knows it exists? So I have to put that on YouTube. So I've been slowly adding things onto there, doing much experimentation. I own my own construction business. So that's where I say, if anybody's been following, I'm a thousandaire, not a millionaire. And I also am opening up a solar power cleaning cleaning business, I guess you could say. Yeah, cleaning solar panels. And I'm all over the place. Things are shifting for a lot of you guys right now. You know, things are getting hard. Things have been getting hard for me too. I know that I have to shift around and try new stuff, so I'm all over the place. And when I get home, the last thing I feel like doing is exercising. But I'll tell you what, when I get up a little bit extra early, and the minimum that I do is 20 minutes. And it's not really cardio, it's just walking at a fast pace. It's scientifically proven if you need it. I really don't need the science for it. I know that I just feel good. But it is said that when you start breathing deeply, you're oxygenating. You're getting dissolved oxygen into your blood. Just like you would put a aerator inside of a pond or inside of a fish tank. It gives oxygen for the fish to breathe. Otherwise, everything gets stagnated. Well, what happens when our bodies are stagnated? There's not enough oxygen going to the brain. The brain doesn't perform that good. Getting some exercise, you will perform better, you will sleep better, you'll think better, all across the board. You'll just feel better. Food is a crazy one for me. I used to just shove stuff down the hatch, and it's very easy, I think, to be working and say, well, just order me a pizza, you know, or let me just go grab a hamburger or something. And I mean, I've been so bad that I would buy a hamburger for breakfast. I'd buy a second one and eat that one cold and soggy for dinner. Not really caring too, because I'm so far into what I'm doing that it just doesn't matter. But that's not a good thing. I think a lot of these people, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I notice a lot of people who are successful, they don't look that great, right? We kind of know what happened to Steve Jobs, you know, it's no laughing matter, but I think we need to really pay attention to our food. So what are the things that I do? I use such things as bananas, apples. I take time off. Sunday's my day where I'll pre-blend a bunch of plant-based smoothies for myself. I'll load them full of bananas, pre-digested stuff. And instead of a salad, I drink raw vegetable juice, and I make these from Sunday. I make enough juice, enough smoothies and everything to last me all the way until Friday. So they're already. What I like about them is they're pre-blended and everything. You're getting double the amount by drinking a quart-sized jar. Is like eating a huge salad. So you're getting all your vegetables, all your minerals, and everything like that. And you're getting them very easily, so you can just grab and go. Make your life easy and stay healthy. Supplements is another good thing to talk about here. I don't consider salt. Well, I think people don't consider salt a supplement. One of the tricks I do, being so busy like I am, is I take a rock of pink sea salt. I've given this on my other podcasts, my other shows, and people I know this advice, and they followed, and they says it's definitely helped them out, like lower their blood pressure and made them feel a lot better. Salt, the ocean has something like 98 vitamins and minerals in it that every single one the body needs. When we get sea salt, we get something like 86 of those vitamins and minerals. So to cut it short, it's not all the vitamins and minerals you need, but it's pretty darn close. And believe it or not, in contrast to what you've been told, it actually helps you out for blood pressure, eating Himalayan pink sea salt or just sea salt. I also use such things as vitamin B12 and stuff like that. Vitamin B12, I use a stress supplement. It helps to relieve stress, but it also gives me a big boost of energy. Let's move into how to balance mental health. That's another one I think a lot of people start to lose it. For me, what I want to talk about right now is short cardio bursts I have in my show notes here. And what I mean by short cardio bursts is that when you'll find yourself when you're working really, really hard, like say at a desk, a computer, you know, and you're writing stuff out and you're going for hours, and then sometimes you come up against a problem that you don't know what to do with. When this happens, if within the first 5 minutes I feel like I'm at a complete standstill, the one thing I did is I got myself a bike, and it was literally right next to my office. My office was at my grandfather's house at the time where I was living with, and I would just ride my bike right off the side of my desk. I'd just get on the bike, and I would hightail it and ride full speed as I can, and I'd go around, do a figure eight around like 4 blocks, right? And what happens, the wind got in my face. I got away from everything I was doing, and it maybe took me like 10 minutes, right, to go take that bike ride. You can do this on a scooter. You can go running. You can walk, skateboard, whatever it has you. But getting that wind in your face, breathing a little bit, getting away from everything, you come back, it gives you a piece of refreshment, and then you're able to start working again. Mental balance, mental health, I think CBD I'm a big advocate of. It's like if somebody had a loud speaker going on behind you, and it just started to become irritated, with anxiety or just, pressure, stress, and things like that. It's just very hard to notice, but if you pay attention when you take CBD, it's like someone took the volume knob and just turned everything down just a bunch of notches. You still are coherent. You're not going to get high off of it. For those of you who want to get stoned, it's got everything that weed does, except for the psychoactive parts. So big proponent, but it does make you sleepy, so be very careful with the amounts. Play with the dosages. Lion's mane mushroom is another one. They sell it in supplements. This has everything in it except for the psychedelics that magic mushrooms has. And what this does is this helps with cognitive abilities. It repairs the sheaths where your neurological connectors are. It basically looks like two mushrooms when they come together. And sometimes the older we get, or just we're not really healthy, certain things that are happening, it helps to actually get these things firing, and it actually repairs the sheaths around them. So really good stuff. Lots of science behind it. If you need it, look it up, lion's mane mushrooms. Block breathing is another one. So if you're ever stuck and you can't get out and get cardio and things like that, or you're just, I think mine is shutting it off, not becoming a machine, which I don't think I have in here we should talk about. So when I lay down to bed and, I know that it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I got to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock, and it's like, I got to stop thinking and I can't stop thinking. Good thing to practice on is block breathing. And block breathing just simply means that we would take the top of a picture frame, let's just say, from left to right. And you're going to take a breath every 4 seconds. You're going to count 4. And so as you're breathing in, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold at that corner. And as you drop down to the bottom area, you're going to hold that breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to go from right to left, and as you're going down the bottom of the picture frame, you're also going to breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. And you're going to hold it as you climb up the picture frame on the left side back up to the top. You're going to hold that for 4. So it's breathe, hold, exhale, hold, breathe. You can do one for sleeping, which is 4 inhale, 4 hold, 8 exhale, 4 hold, 4 breathe. So you can see that what this does is it will actually start to make you sleepy and instantly relax you. So block breathing, and there's all kinds of different breathing techniques. I just shared one with you because that's all that I got time for, but definitely high performance athletes use these things. So basically, just to kind of run my mind off here, I have a few notes here, is to simplify everything. If I can go back in time, even though I live in a tiny house, and AKA a travel trailer, my yard's very tiny. It takes me like a half a day to do all my maintenances on Sundays. That's my day. Sunday is my chore day. Now, if I could go back in time, I would have simplified things even more. I bought myself like one of those pressure cooker, air fryer things, one-pot meals and stuff like that, but I still have no idea what I'm doing. I think before I would really jump in, if I can give advice to somebody else, would be to look up healthy one-pot meals. Get yourself an entire menu of at least like 30 different things to eat for dinner, 30 different things for lunch. Or if it's just too much work, keep it simple like me. I've been eating hard-boiled eggs and smoothies for probably about a year now. Keep things simple. Simplify everything. Food, like I said, is a very big one. Reason why I'm saying about the air fryer and the one-pot meals, the pressure cookers and stuff like that is a lot of us have children. And I love my kids, and it's very difficult for me to balance all of this time. So I need to have things simplified as much as possible. I'm also a single dad, so I got to cook every single night, 7 days a week. So I've got to figure out what to do with things like that. So if I can go back in time, that's definitely what I would recommend to people. The other thing is schedule everything. Well, you know what? I almost forgot about being a machine. Let's talk about that real quick, even though I'm going over time here. I'm going to do this for you guys. When you get turned into an animal like this and you get zeroed in, sometimes it's very difficult to get out of. I want to really state for people, and I've seen this happen with the look, and I don't see any of these greats ever talking about this. They lose their path, I think, a little bit with like nature and simple things in life. Elon Musk actually admitted this on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan said, God, it'd be nice to be you. And Elon Musk says, no, it wouldn't be. You don't understand. I can never shut it off. It never stops, ever. And he didn't look too happy about that. You got to be careful about becoming a machine and still remain a healthy animal. And what I like to talk about is to be able to spend at least a few minutes in nature, or if you're working by a window or something, go down and spend at least that much so you don't lose your humanity. We want to get to where we're at. I mean, I think if you're going to be a millionaire or a billionaire, it may suck a lot of life out of you. You may have to sacrifice a lot of things, which we're going to talk about too. But try to do things that keeps you balanced in nature so that you don't completely lose it all. I don't believe 100% that you can just lose it and never get it back, but it's a lot of work to get there. So my next one that I almost skipped over here was schedule everything. Whenever somebody calls, you have appointments or something like that, immediately, if you have a secretary or something like that, I'm not there yet. I don't think I ever want to be there. I want to keep it simple. But I get to my appointments, I write it down. Tomorrow I have a phone call at noon with a website developer. I've got it down. I know that at 12. Every morning I wake up, I look at my to-do list and I try to get those all knocked out. I also, which I don't have my notes here, is alarms. So if I have that meeting at 12, I'm going to set that alarm for 11:55, and I've got probably like 20, 30 alarms. Anybody who actually knows me, they're like, your phone's always ringing, man. I have those to know when it's time to quit, to go to bed. I know when it's time to brush my daughter's hairs and to brush their teeth, and all those kind of things there. So schedule an alarm clock, everything. And that's kind of brings me into keeping up the background thinking vampires I have on here. Free up background thinking vampires. I don't know, that doesn't even make sense. But what I mean by this is the background thinking is that when you are working and then you're like, crap, you know what? I forgot what I was going to make for dinner today. When you have everything pre-planned out, when you wake up in the morning, you get your to-do list checked off, you know that you don't have to make any phone calls or nothing like that. You don't have that background, those thoughts getting to you. Even if it's just a tiny little one. The way I look at this is I get on a pathway, right? When I'm creative visualizing, when I'm thinking about what I need to do for my business, how am I going to get ahead? How do I design this? Every once in a while, it's like a trail, and then when you get off that trail, you forgot where you started off from. So when you get interrupted, even by your own thoughts, sometimes you lose all the parts and pieces that you were in. You can't write all this stuff down. I'm giving you guys some insight the way I think, and I think that maybe possibly other people do too, but they really live inside their mind, and they need to finish a thought, if that makes sense to you. Those of you who are hustlers, I think you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Those of you who never tried it, maybe it's not the same for everybody, but definitely it's not going to hurt you to be able to get some really good time for yourself to finish these thoughts. Next, I'm going to talk about a word on sacrifices. I believe that I lost a lot of relationships in my life, and it was because I am so extreme, and this is definitely not the life for everybody. I think a lot of people just want to get by, and you better really take a look at what's going on in your life, because if you're with somebody, whether it's a business partner, a lover, a family member, friends, whatever it is, you may lose them. To me, if it's true love, it's true friendship and all that, people in their true go-getter, there's nothing that can keep you guys apart. But in my story, I think that's a lot of what happened in my life. I refuse to live in the rat race. I refuse to be told what to do. I refuse to take this crap that we're given here, that this is what your life's supposed to be. Someone telling me what to do. I'm like, no, I can make my own lifestyle design. That's why I coined this as the alternative lifestyle design. What are the alternatives to the present that what we have going on right now? That takes going up against everything. And a lot of times it takes inventing your way out of things and thinking your way out. There's no one to talk to on some things, right? You have to really concoct these things yourself. And even if someone did, doesn't mean that, told you how to live here's all these bunch of secrets. It may work for them, but it ain't going to work for you. So you constantly have to be thoughtful and moving forward. And most of the time, life for us entrepreneurs, I think, and creators is it's the unknown. And that's not acceptable for a lot of people. People need predictability. They need safety and things like that. Even though I look at, the only predictable thing is that nothing is predictable in life, and that doesn't fit Drive Right. So, in short, sacrifices may need to happen, and it will if you guys aren't on the same page. In closing, here is how does this improve the world overall? I think, I don't know what you guys are up to and what you're doing, but my invention of the biodegradable container gardening, I think, could revolutionize, for the very few who get it. I can teach people, it's a whole podcast in and of itself, but I could basically handicap people could grow their own food. It's so simple. There's no electricity and things like that. So people who think that they don't have a green thumb, people who think that they don't have enough time, people who are handicapped, I've got all the solutions, everything for you guys to start growing your own food. It's just like an aquaponics system. It's an investment. It's not your typical garden, but it's completely in harmony with nature as well, where we're not having to kill basically almost anything. It's non-toxic. If we just dump the whole thing, it literally would turn into dust and nobody even knew what would happen, except for there's this big giant fertile area of land. So all that takes time. All of those things I think are going to make the world a better place. All of my goals to make this enough money to be able to take care of me and my children and my children's children, and be able to start a farm and buy maybe 50 acres of land somewhere in, like, say, South Carolina or wherever, and be able to turn this thing into a natural food forest where animals could eat, we could eat, all of this balance. But also I think in yourself, going to extreme like this will actually get you closer to what you want to do. You may figure out that you don't want to do these things. Great. You failed at it, it sucks, or you just figured out you don't want to do it, you're on to the next thing. When we go to extreme measures, we get things done a lot faster. And I think that what most people would do in 10 years, we'd be able to do in 1 year. But if it's not your thing, that's great, I think, in my book, because now you can find something, like I said, that you do. If it is your thing, it's not really work, really. That's the hard part, is that you don't want to quit. You don't want to go to sleep. You want to keep working. So, guys, that's the show. I hope all that made sense. I hope that helps you guys. If you guys want to get out of this rat race and everything, I think that it definitely takes some strategic planning. And most cases, if you really want to get out, only you know what time you have, right? How much time do you have doing? Can you sustain what you're doing right now? And also live a resilient life. Can you move yourself out of here in a time frame that you actually want? Notice how a lot of us said that things are going to get better, next year. Next year will be fine. Then a year after that, in 10 years. Look how many times we've been saying this. So that's why I think people like me look and go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. I'm fed up. I'm going to get in it and I'm just going to kill it. I'm just going to go for it. And I'm going to get it every single thing that I got. I'm going to go hardcore. I'm going to go extreme. So if this helps you guys out, please like and subscribe. If I brought you guys some entertainment and some value, like and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. Review the show. Help me get the show off the ground so we can get this thing actually going. We're in our infant stages here. It's a lot of work, but I love doing it, and I'll be here for you guys 5 days a week. Side note before I quit, though, I think I'm going to take off about a week. I'm going to go camping. Speaking of going extreme, I'm starting to lose my mind, and I think I'm going to go camp at the ocean and just drink some beers and eat some nice foods and get my children around me, have a campfire, and just zone out on the ocean. If I do, I will definitely let you guys know. I'm trying to pre-record a bunch of shows, but I don't know why I even said I should just wait till the time, because I'm just bringing you guys into my life. But hope your guys' life is going good. And guys, as I always say, there's in the show notes, there's Resilientlpodcast at gmail.com. Everything's in there for you guys to get a hold of me, give me suggestions, let me know how I'm doing for you guys. If there's something you guys want to hear about. So as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. And human up, my friends.